Okay, so when we hook this up, we're actually going to measure the pressure so we can see how far we can throw. So we take a little pressure gauge, put it into any hose bib that's on the system, turn the water on, and in this case we're getting about 80 psi, so anything between 40 and 80 psi works with Irrigreen. So I'll turn that back off and we're done. So you can look up on the table and see how far that will throw, but that will throw about 30 to 35 feet, so we can plan our system for about 30 feet. Okay, so the next step is you plant your flag where you think you want your sprinkler heads. Now that we've measured pressure, we know that these will throw about 30 feet or so. And then we can measure to the farthest edge of the lawn to make sure that we have adequate distance. So if we go all the way at the end, this is at about 22 feet. So that'll be enough range to go through. So once I've put my individual heads out, now I have the ability to measure to make sure that I can reach every part of the lawn line of sight, and it's within the throw range of the sprinkler for that amount of pressure. So the trenching for an Irrigreen system is incredibly easy. You just go to mainline, point of connection. So anywhere where there's a valve box, there's mainline, and then just trench that out to each head. So in this case here, you can see us trenching along and just coming out to a T. And then at the T part, we go to each individual sprinkler head. So it's about 20% of the trench that you'd have in a normal system. So super easy to do, even with hand tools. So connecting the Irrigreen digital head to the PVC is really easy. The flex cable has two ends on it. One is 1 inch and one's 3/4. The inch one goes into the PVC, and on that one you'll use Teflon tape. And the one that goes on the Irrigreen is just the 3/4. You just do it hand tight, no tools, and don't use any Teflon tape. It's got a gasket in it that provides the sealing. For the electrical connection, the one on the Y here, which is the female end, this will connect back to the down line. So this is the cable that's coming up from the edge here, and you notice it's female, so think of it like as an electrical cord. That'll plug into the male end, which is the Y there. And then the bottom end, since this is one at the end, we won't need to connect, so we can just use this plug. Always make sure you put the plug in, because that protects the electrical connection and make sure it doesn't corrode over time. So to flush out the pipes on the system, which is a very important step, just unscrew the head from the flex pipe, point the flex pipe outside of the hole, and then turn on the main line to flush out. Before turning on the Irrigreen system, it's very important to flush the pipes to get any PVC glue or debris out. So generally let that run for a few minutes, and it's not only filling the pipeline, the pipe with water, which is very important for the calibration process, but it's also getting any debris, any dirt or PVC glue or anything else like that out of the system. So to mount the controller, first just screw in the top bracket and then put the controller on top and slide it down in place, and then you can just put the 2 screw holes in the bottom and that'll hold it. So the wiring for the Irrigreen system is super easy. The first 2 wires that come wired are the power. If you look at there, it says 24 volt AC. Doesn't matter which side these are in because it's AC. So the white one can be over here or the red one can be over here. And then that just wires up into an outdoor power box. The second piece we have is the digital. And so the white wire coming from the sprinkler cable, and we're using a server cable here. You can tell it's a server cable because it actually has a waterproof connector on one end, but just has bare wires on the other end. So that's the part that connects to the controller. The white wire goes in common, and the red wire is going to digital 1 through 8 because this particular string is going to have sprinklers numbered 1 through 8. So calibrating the Irrigreen digital sprinklers are really easy. If you go to the sprinkler head, just put a tape measure at one end, and I've used a little irrigation flag here so my tape measure stays right at the sprinkler head, and then put it out to about 25 feet. So once we have the tape measure set up, go into the app, push the zones button, and in this case we're going to calibrate digital zone 1, and up on top here you push the calibrate or recalibrate button. And what we'll be doing is entering in about 4 different distances to calibrate the head, and the head will be able to compute how much pressure it has. So the first thing I'm going to do is rotate the head so that it is in the flattest, longest part of the yard where we put our tape measure. So generally you need about 25, 22 feet to calibrate. In this case I'm just hitting that 15 button until we line it up with our tape measure. So now it says how far is the water currently spraying, and I can adjust how far it's spraying on this right here. So we'll walk over and figure out where the water's spraying, and it looks like it's about 14 feet, 7 inches or so. So I'll put in 14 feet, 7 inches. Oh, a little less than that. 14 feet, maybe 5 inches. That's about where it's at. And hit save. And then it'll spray to a new distance now. It's about 12 feet, about 10 inches. So we'll go to 12 feet and about 10 inches. Save. So now it's going to verify the calibration, and this is just kind of a check on our side. It'll spray out to 15 feet and then back to 14 feet. And this just gives us a good idea of whether it calibrated correctly. So we'll hit proceed here. The sprinkler will pop down, and 15 feet's about right here. It'll pop right up, and it looks like it's right on 15 feet. So we know we got a good calibration, and then it comes down to 14 feet. So I like my calibration, so I'm going to hit finish now, and we're calibrated. So now after I've calibrated, the next step will be to program the zone shape.
All right, this is a brief demonstration about how to adjust your watering shape in your Irrigreen system. So we're going to treat this as if it's a brand new zone and you're setting it up for the first time and adding points for your watering shape. So to do so, we're going to go to the Zones tab at the bottom of the screen, tap on our zone, and then from this screen here, you'll see the middle where it says Set Watering Shape 0 square feet. We're going to click the Edit button here to start our sprinkler up. And while our startup is going, you'll see some tips on screen about how to add new points, pinch, pan, zoom like a Google Maps, and also some quick tips about adding points along straight and curved edges of your lawn. So as our sprinkler pops up on the left here, we're going to try to create a pattern that hits these 3 flags you see on the left side of the screen. So we're going to click Continue to proceed. And what you see here is just a basic representation of your sprinkler spraying straight ahead. The green dot is the sprinkler. First thing we're going to do is try and orient ourselves here so that we kind of match our viewpoint. That way things make a little bit more sense on screen as I go about the demo. So to begin, we're going to add our first point. And to do so, all we're going to do is click the Add Point button down at the bottom right. This is going to pop a point on screen, and I'm just going to hold and drag it into place. So in order to match our pattern, looks like I'm probably going to need a point somewhere up around here to hit that first flag. So as our sprinkler moves into position, you'll see these fine controls pop on screen. These are just to allow you to finely adjust your sprinkler position. And it looks like in our case, we're a little bit far. So I'm going to want to move back a little bit and probably to the left as well to kind of make sure I'm hitting that flag. So let me just get this into position here. Looks like I'm pretty close. That's looking pretty good. So I think one more. Okay. So now this is going to be the starting position of my sprinkler. Every time it runs a schedule, every time it starts up in this editing session, this is where it will begin at point 1. So to continue our pattern, we're going to go ahead and add a second point. So same thing. I'm going to click the Add Point button and then drag it into place. It looks like it will be somewhere over here. As my sprinkler moves into position, not bad. I'm going to move it a little bit more next to that flag. I'm a little bit over, a little bit to the left. That's actually looking pretty good right about there. So same thing, third point, down at the bottom left here of the screen, that third flag. I'm going to click Add and also drag this into position down here. Looks like it'll be right about here-ish. So we're going to drop it there. Now, sometimes I kind of get out of whack here and I want to recenter myself. There's a button down at the bottom, and this just puts me in a viewpoint right behind the sprinkler. kind of helps you orient yourself a little bit. So we're going to continue adjusting this position to make sure we hit that blue flag in the bottom left of the screen. I'm going to keep going a little bit more. Looks like I need some more left, maybe a little bit further out. Not bad, right about there should be good. So one thing to note is as we're going through this process and as we're changing our points, everything is saving as we go. So I don't need to click save, don't need to click confirm or anything like that. It's already saving itself. To make sure I'm kind of on, I want to click this play button at the bottom left. And this is going to quickly run through my pattern and make sure that I am not hitting the flowers, for example, or I'm not hitting the sidewalk. Just kind of quickly traverse through my positions in my zone and make sure I'm at the right. Looks like we're good along that edge, so I think we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. And let's say I have a point that I just kind of add. It's in my flower bed. It's hitting my sidewalk or something I don't need anymore. I'm just going to tap on that point and highlight it and click the delete button, and it just removes it from my pattern. So this is just a quick demo of how things work. And you know, let's say I want to start all over. I want to redo this whole thing. There's a settings button at the top. And in this settings, there's an option to do erase all points. And this will clear everything out and start us from the beginning, just like we began. So hope this helps, and best of luck with your Irrigreen editing.